This is Chris, the Idaho Painter, here on Paint Live TV. Today I got Captain Zach with me today, and we're inside of an interior here painting it, and we're going to talk about job site sequencing, what it looks like, the process we go through to paint this thing and get it done in a day. I don't think we're going to be doing this one in a day because it's quite a bit of work.
It's about 2 or 3 days.
About 2 or 3 days, and we've got, what are we doing in here, Zach?
We're doing walls and ceilings throughout a bunch of the house, not quite all of it, but a whole bunch of rooms, a whole bunch of hallways.
How many colors?
It's one color for walls and ceilings.
Are we painting the trim today?
Just touch-ups, and that'll be on the last day.
This is what we like to do, just rolling walls. It's a lot better than spraying trim, getting all dusty and dirty. So this job site sequencing, this looks a little bit different. We're gonna have a whole series of these videos. This will be series number 1, and this is one of the easiest case scenarios, and that's just rolling walls and ceilings, one color. So we showed up to the job site today. There's me, you. We've got Foreign Language Friday, Lucas hanging out. We've got Safety Sally over here doing some cut ends, and that's what we got. So we got 4 people here today.
4 people.
We showed up at the door, and what was the first thing we do to get this job going, Zach?
So normally either Chris, John, or I will come up, we'll open it up with the customer, and we'll just kind of walk through what we're going to be doing that day. And then one of the guys will start bringing drop cloths in, and they'll start at the doorway and just kind of lead pathway to a bigger leak-proof drop cloth, and then that's when we start bringing some of the tools in.
So it's very important to get drop cloths down very first thing before you start walking on people's floors and stuff. So open the doors, we set drop cloths down, start setting tools on the drop cloths, begin working our way in the house. And then we're going to begin the painting process. And you know, there's a few things that you got to get going. One of them is the painting, but there's a few things that we do before that. And one guy will come in, start masking, but then what are some of the couple other things we need to be doing?
So a lot of these first steps, you can kind of reverse them just depending on how many guys you have. You can have somebody taking off switch plates. You can have somebody going around kind of prepping the walls, putting caulking or spackle up, and just kind of getting the walls ready to paint. And then you get one person going around and doing plastic on all the furniture. That way we don't get any paint on it.
Yep. So one of the very first things, like Zach said, is spackle. Get spackle on the walls, because if you have any holes that aren't just pinholes, if they're like a size of a dime or bigger, if this project is to be done in one day, we want that spackle to be able to dry so we can roll over it. So get somebody spackling right away. We've had a few holes in here that were a little bit smaller than a dime. I did all the spackling and I took off the switch plates. You got to get those switch plates on. 2 guys were masking, but we want to start rolling too right away, because what if this is going to take 2 coats?
Right.
And so what does the rolling process look like? Are we doing a real heavy coat the first time, or is it lighter?
It kind of depends. You just got to put it on and kind of see how it looks. In this situation, it's probably going to be one coat just because of the color difference. It's not that big of a color difference. But normally you would need to look and make sure that it's not going to be 2 coats, and that way it looks good.
Yep, so we were using a very high-end paint which covers very, very well. So you grabbed a roller, you started doing some of the cut-ins, and you were using a special roller doing the cut-ins. What kind of roller is that, Zach?
I was using the corner roller.
Yep. So we're using a corner plus roller, and that way we don't have to use a brush, and we'll show it here in this video at some point in time. And you're running around, but while you're doing that, you're determining whether it was going to cover in one coat or not. And because of a very slight color difference, we know it's going to cover in one coat, so we don't have to do what we would call skim coating. If you determine that it was going to be 2 coats to do it, what we would do is begin rolling on just a light coat on as your first coat. And you got to kind of work with the guys that are masking and stay in the same area as they're masking. But we got all the masking done like really fast. We've got a dining room, we've got a kitchen, we've got an office in here, a hallway, and this family room. We got all the masking done in about an hour. We covered all this stuff in plastic. I think, I'm not sure who was covering, Lucas might have been covering it. That was probably 10-15 minutes getting the plastic, because you don't want to be we're rolling ceilings here. You don't want to roll any ceilings until you get plastic on everything.
Plastic and drop cloths. Gotta make sure the whole floor is covered as well.
Plastic and drop cloths. And we are, to make this process go a lot faster, what are we rolling with?
We are rolling with the Graco Power Roller.
And why are we using that?
Well, there's a couple reasons. It's a lot faster, and the amount of paint we're putting up, because we're doing walls and ceiling all in the same color, It's just way more efficient to use the power roller for it.
And you know, some people might say, "Oh my gosh, how much time it's going to take and clean up and tear down?" You know, how much time do you think it's going to take to set it up and tear it down?
Maybe 30 minutes max, and compared to that, with having to dip your roller in every single time, it's a huge difference.
Especially rolling all these high ceilings. We got vaulted ceilings all over here, and never having to dip. You're just rolling away. Never have to bring your roller down and lift it back up. You don't even have to climb ladders. We don't have to get up on ladders because the power roller has, you know, extensions on it, so we're being able to reach everything with extensions. Yeah. So another thing, you know, to get switch plates back on, you want to roll around the switch plates, you know, right away, and so that will dry. And so it's kind of, you know, it's kind of just working your way through this process. Another thing that's very important when we came in here, I think we're all pretty experienced, but trying to leverage people's, you know, abilities and what they're good at, and you want to assign, you know, if one guy's faster at masking, you want him to mask first and get on the masking. If one guy's faster at rolling, you might want to have him roll. And so we kind of delegate that, but we share the tasks because I think we're all, you know, equally good at all that stuff. Maybe, you know, a couple are faster masking, but we do have your brother Matt here, and he's learning, and so we could probably mask a lot faster than him. So it's probably more beneficial to have him spackle walls and him take off switch blades. But he just showed up here and took off at another job site. But that's kind of leveraging your employees, getting them to do what's going to be more efficient for your team and make things go a lot faster.
And also, just kind of a side note on that, you do want to kind of teach them and give them learning opportunity as well. And on this job, we know that, you know, we have a little bit of time in the schedule, so we did put some people on some new stuff. That way they can learn those things and be ultimately better painters in the long run.
And we've been teaching Matt, he's been doing all the rolling with power rolling, but today we switched it up. We got Lucas rolling today, and Matt is off being taught how to do touch-ups at another job. So, you know, the sequence, you know, every job is gonna look a little bit differently. This one's gonna look a lot different if we're gonna be spray and trim, but this is pretty simple. But it's, you know, it's kind of just working through those steps and getting the process done fast and efficient. Okay, we're gonna go over scenario number one really quickly and briefly. So scenario number one, the walls and ceilings are all one color, trim is the second color. We're gonna walk right in, we're gonna get drop cloths down, start setting our tools down. We're gonna assign one person to start removing switch plates and spackling the walls. We'll assign another person to start getting tape on at least the baseboard, so who's ever rolling the walls, they won't get any stippling on the baseboards, and then they'll run paper along the edge too. We want to get somebody rolling walls right away too, so we got to get plastic. Another person is to get plastic dropped on everything. That way no stippling or splatter from the ceilings will get, you know, on our furniture, and we will typically work from top down. The person rolling is going to start on the ceilings, do the ceilings first, and then rolling down the walls. As soon as the people get done masking, taping, and doing the spackling, they're going to get cut-in buckets and begin the cut-in process and cutting in on walls, and then the person rolling is going to follow right behind those people doing cut-ins, because as they do the cut-ins, you want to roll your walls. It's only be one coat. We already discussed that, because you don't want to get haloing, so rolling your walls and your cut-ins while they're still wet are an important process. And we do have videos explaining that process that you can check out after this video. There it all is in brief. That's what it looks like. And then once the walls dry, we'll begin just reversing everything and cleaning up and heading out. Bam. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up, hit the little notification bell. That way you can see us again someday, if you want. We are on Facebook, Pinterest. We got some really cool blogs on Pinterest, and we're on Instagram. We love Instagram. Check us out there. We do live shows, giveaways, all kinds of cool stuff. Once again, we'll see you on our next video. Out.